today's guest is a badass middleweight in the UFC. He is coming in strong, making a name for himself. We're proud to call him a Philly fighter. Him and his brother are both killing it in the UFC. We've had his older brother on before. On today's episode is Kyle Daukaus. So your brother as you are killing it in the UFC, looking really good. Your last performance, I thought you looked fantastic in it. I mean, your striking looked great. I know your ground game and all that stuff is awesome too. But I thought you guys just looked better every single fight, which is where you want to be, right? You want to be growing as a fighter.
Of course.
So your brother's last performance against a pretty well-known name, Olenek. How was that? How was that whole dynamic? Because you were cornering him, correct?
Yeah, I was there. It was good. We went into the fight knowing that Olenek really just had grappling. He didn't really have very good striking. But we figured that he would be probably the strongest, like physically strong, strongest opponent my brother would face. But after the fight, I asked my brother how strong he was, and he said he wasn't as strong as we thought he was. We have a couple of guys at the gym that we train with, a couple of big guys, and my brother said that the guys that we train with are stronger than he was. So I was surprised. I was really surprised. But yeah, my brother blew through him. The game plan was to go in there and strike, get off quick, because we knew that he was uncomfortable standing. He got it done. He took a little too much damage towards the end of the fight. I thought it should have been stopped a little bit earlier. But it was good, man. He's making a name for himself, and it just shows that the hard work that he's putting in.
Man, he really did look. He looked stronger. His striking looked sharp. It looked solid.
Yeah.
As far as the strength behind the punch. And Olenek, I think, was trying to get out of there way quicker than he got out. When his back was against the cage, he was kind of looking for that, come save me kind of face. So
yeah, I didn't really notice during the fight. Like from my angle, you couldn't see him look at Herb Dean like he was looking at him like kind of in a panic. Like are you gonna stop this, or am I just gonna take a beating still?
Exactly.
But when I saw it again, I was like, oh man, he looked at him like so you could tell he wanted out. He also almost fell over after Herb stopped it. So it just shows the power my brother has.
Do you think he got hurt in one of the first exchanges?
Yeah, I think my brother tagged him with he countered over his jab.
Overhand right.
My brother hit him with and it was right on the chin. You can just see he was stunned.
Yeah,
and I think that was the whole changing of it. But I think the real change in the fight was when Olenek had that head and arm control and then pulled guard, tried to pull half guard. He tries to do that, and then he tries to get an underhook and sweep. But I knew that was the change in the fight. When Olenek realized that he couldn't get him down, he knew that he was screwed. So
right. My one big tool, and here I can't get this guy down.
Yeah,
and it's
and I
just
can't
the
do
first
it.
round.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Everybody's dry, and this is not going to happen. Well, it was really cool to see, and obviously it's exciting for Philly to have you guys in there. So, has your brother heard already of another fight kind of getting lined up for him?
Not that I know of. Honestly, not that I know of. We have a few guys in mind that we would like to fight.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good decisions that we have to make coming up. I know that he might be renegotiating his contract coming up, so see what he does there. I'm sure they're going to sign him again. I'm sure that he's going to get a 5 or 6 fight deal from this next one. But in this game, we're just trying to get the most money that we can. So as long as the money's right, he's good.
For sure. You know why I one of the things that I was pumped about was, a lot of times fighters lose their opportunity after winning a fight with the call out or just even how they handle the media or the interview. And your brother nailed it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
He was like, just give me anybody. All right, Stipe. If you're really gonna ask me, I'm gonna shoot for the highest possible opponent. So that was awesome. That was perfectly done. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, you could tell. You can kind of tell that they're pushing for that Aspinall fight. I think.
Okay.
I guess because it's the second time they were on the card together. The first time Aspinall had mentioned my brother's name after he beat that guy Rodrigo. My brother beat him, and then Aspinall beat his guy, and he had said something along the lines of that would be a good fight coming up. That would be a fight that I would want. and then they put them on the same card, and they both win again against veterans. So you'd think that like that's the fight they're pushing for. Yeah, right. They want my brother to fight that guy, but my brother doesn't want to go backwards. You know, fighting a number 15 guy, it doesn't make sense when you're number 10.
I was gonna say now, yeah, he's got that beautiful number next to him. Now it's like you can only shoot up. You know, exactly. What I mean? Keep on having those type of performances, and you know, he'll be on that top 5 very quick. So yeah, that's definitely awesome. All right, so when he was here, he said that you guys growing up, you guys got along very well, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But he said that he that he had you beat in all the fights as kids. Is that true?
Oh yeah. He would beat me up all the time. Yeah. He was the big brother, so you know that. Like, every day I would get a whooping, you know, regardless of what I did. If I was playing video games, he would come and give me a whooping, and then steal the controller and go play video games, and then I would be out of luck, you know. But all of him and his buddies did that.
Did that dynamic kind of make you a little tougher and get you to want to be at the level of the older brother?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's always good when you like now. It's always good when you submit or you have a better round against them, because you're like, you know what, this is payback from when I was growing up, and you used to pin me down and do that like fake spit thing when you're in mount and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Tease me and all that stuff. So it's a good payback.
All right, so let's take it back to, like, you know, growing up. What was your interest growing up? Were you always into fighting?
I would say no. I was very antisocial, and I still kind of am. I'm very quiet. I'm not very like I'm very introverted. I don't really like, you know, like talking in front of people and stuff like that, even though I teach kickboxing and stuff. But when I was younger, I was very quiet. I played sports and stuff, but I wasn't really into fighting. I wasn't really into like getting in the fights, altercations and stuff like that. I would go the complete opposite way. Like if I saw a fight over here, I would get as far as possible away that I could be. You know, I didn't think I could like handle myself in a fight, and I never wanted to get beat up. But yeah, now, I mean, looking back, if you were to tell me that when I was 8 or 9 that I was going to be a professional fighter, you know, I would have thought you were crazy.
Right. So what type of things were you into? Like how did you spend your time?
I played video games a lot. I played video games. I played soccer. I played baseball. I played lacrosse in grade school and in high school. I played football. I played like weight ball for Oxford Circle Raiders. I played for them when I was, I don't know, I think I was like from 8 to 12 or something like that. I played weight ball. And the funny thing was I was always heavy. Weight ball, yeah. So for like Oxford Circle, for like the junior teams of football, you had to weigh a certain amount. I was like in a 10 to 12 age, but I had to weigh like 120 to 130 pounds. I couldn't weigh any heavier than that. But for me, I was a fat kid, so I always weighed heavier. So I always had to wear the quarterback pads when I weighed in. So the quarterback pads were always smaller and more frail. So in order for me to pass the test to play the game, I had to wear the quarterback pads. So, but I think that kind of helps now, because I was like, my coach was telling me like to get in trash bags and stuff and start running and stuff. And I was like, this guy's crazy. What are you talking about? Like, I'm just trying to keep eating. Like, it's no big deal to me. But yeah.
Well, and by the way, so that translates to now when you go in the octagon in your weight division, you're fucking massive, dude. Like, you know what I mean? You usually tower over these guys. That's a nice advantage, you know?
Yeah, it is, right? It's crazy to think that, you know, what was it 2 years ago, I think? Or last year? No, 2 years ago. Sorry. I had my Contender Series fight, and I was told that I'm kind of a small middleweight, you know, that I could probably drop to 170. You know, I walk around 215, 220, so there's no possible way. You have to cut a leg off in order for me to reach 170. But it's good. You know, I have a lot of range. I'm very tall for the division, and it works out.
So do you enjoy being where you're at right now and don't already see like you stepping up to the next weight class for a while, or?
I wouldn't say I'm not going to step up to 205 yet, unless the weight cut starts getting hard. Unless my weight, like out of camp, goes up, then there's no way I'm going to drop to. I'm going to go up to 205. I'll stay at 85 for a while.
I was just having that conversation with the last guest, and we were talking about like how ridiculous the whole weight thing is, and how, you know, everybody just wants to stay away from the biggest monster that's at the next weight class that also is cutting down to that weight, even though they're like 20 pounds over that. Yeah, you know, it's
the whole weight cut thing. You know, sorry if you can hear my dog jumping around. He's probably crazy. the thing with weight cutting is like, if they try to take weight cutting out and do hydration tests and stuff, there's going to be guys that are going to cut weight anyway. So there's going to be guys cutting weight regardless. So it's just a matter of how smart you do it.
Right. What was it before that they were talking about? I think like there was a certain amount of weight that you could only hydrate back to if you cut the weight. I mean, I know there's always a workaround, but basically we're just trying to like control.
First, a percentage. I think it's like a percentage or something like that. You can only gain back, I think, maybe like 15% or 10% of your weight or something like that. Like I have to like watch what I eat on fight day so I don't get too heavy. Like I'll weigh in, and then maybe 2 hours later I'll be 203 pounds, like without even eating anything. I'll be 203 pounds, all fluids, and then I start eating, and then I'm getting up like into 206, 208, and I have to like watch what I do and watch what I eat, just to be safe, because I don't want to get flagged for like cutting too much weight or being too heavy the next day or anything like that, and making me move up in a weight class.
Right. Also, they do that. They flag you if they notice that that's the deal.
Yeah. You can get flagged for it. I mean, not like flagged, but like I think it's suggested. It's suggested that you move up a weight class because if you gain back too much percentage of your weight, then it's a problem to them.
Yeah. But I'm sure also if you're getting suggestions from the UFC that you know what I mean, you want to avoid any form of.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, you don't want to get in trouble with them.
No.
Nah.
Keep it clean.
No, thank you.
So I've always wondered about that, because on a normal person like myself's case, like if you're doing anything that's important, right? Whatever that might be, whether it's something with work or whether it's your wedding, a job thing, you want to feel your best, so you don't want to like overeat something that you're gonna feel like shit when you're there. You're like, how much of that goes into your mentality? Like, are you ever stressed about like, I got to make sure I eat the right things, I got to make sure I'm in the right weight before I start feeling like crap that day?
Like as far as the weight cut, or just
like no, just in general. Like so, like you're already hydrating. You're on that side of the weekend, but like, are you worried about how heavy you're getting or what you're eating exactly, because you don't want to go in there with like anything making you feel?
Yeah, of course. I try to stay away from like red meats or like red sauces or anything like that, because I get like a lot of like indigestion and like heartburn and stuff. But yeah, I always want to be light. I think like like the last time I fought was, I think it was like 4 or 5 o'clock, and I didn't eat anything from like 1 o'clock. Like I feel like I perform better when my body's kind of hungry, as opposed to getting a meal in and then going to the fight and fighting.
Okay, so the closest thing I can I can connect that to, which is nowhere near close, but like I ran Broad Street a bunch of times, and a lot of these type of things. So with me not being like an athlete, right? Like some people who are like, you don't have to laugh at me that much, Jesus. No, no, but like, it's like I gotta take every opportunity not to feel like shit when I'm running, compared to like some of these people who are actually athletic. So like I would be like, all right, I'm not gonna mix it up. I'm gonna drink the same coffee in that morning. I'm gonna have the one banana. I'm gonna, I'm not gonna eat a bagel and then like start running and have to be the first guy at the porta potty. Right? Yeah. So anyway, with that, I think that you guys have to be the same way, where like you're not trying to mess anything up that day. You want to feel your best when you're in there.
Yeah, I don't really want to switch, even like get out of my routine of food for like fight week. Like for fight week, I have a guy, John Poppy, who makes my food for me out in Vegas. He's fantastic with the food and the weight cut that I use. But I always tell him, like, I want the same things that you give me throughout fight week, just at bigger portions. That way my body's used to what I was eating. That way I feel normal and I'm ready to go.
Okay. Is there like anything lucky or anything that you must have as fight day?
Nah, I'm not superstitious or anything like that, as opposed to like routines or like food that I need to eat or something like that. But I do like having salmon and rice the night of weigh-ins. Like when I start eating again, I like to have salmon and rice. I feel like it sits good in my stomach, but that's about it. It's good. So. Okay,
all right. And when you're not in camp, there's no drinking. You're still like pretty clean cut, or?
Oh yeah, I try to stay away from drinking and partying and eating bad and stuff like that. My girlfriend will tell you, like, like now that I'm in fight camp, I crave like cheesesteaks. Like I'll text her like, "Yo, like let's get cheesesteaks tonight." She's like, "You can't. We're in camp." And I'm like, all right, that's true. And then she'll be like, even if you weren't in camp, you still don't eat that stuff. So I don't know why you say that you eat it. And I was like, yeah, I mean, she has a
Probably
point. So.
probably because you know you can't have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I forget when it was, but I had a fight like a couple of years ago, and I was about 3 or 4 weeks out, and the fight had got canceled. And I was like, damn, like I'm gonna pig out. I'm gonna have pizza, slice of pizza or something like that. I ordered the pizza, got the food, and I was just like, I don't even want to eat this. Like, I don't want this. So it was right in front of me to eat, and I was like, nah, I'll just have something else. So I had like a salad or something like that. So
Yeah, because it's almost like you're disappointing yourself. It's like, I already did so good. Like, why would I mess it up now just because of one thing? Just keep it going to the next time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, I want to talk about your next fight, obviously, but so going back to growing up and growing up and all that good stuff. At what age did you get into fighting?
I think it was my freshman and sophomore year of high school. My brother joined the gym in Fox Chase. He told me about it. I joined up, and then it's been ever since. I like knew from the beginning that like this is something that I could take on, and like I liked a lot. Like I loved it. As soon as I hit the first class, I was in love with it. I was ready to go. I stopped playing football. You know, I still played lacrosse throughout high school, but like my senior year, when I started taking fighting like real serious, I stopped playing all sports, and I just focused more on MMA and jiu-jitsu.
Were you, so that's in high school? Were you known in high school as like the guy who fights, or no? You were just training.
I don't think so. No, I wasn't really like a known guy in high school. I was kind of bullied a little bit, but that doesn't play like, yeah, that's just high school. So it comes with high school. You know, people think like, oh, you got bullied, so is that why you got into fighting? No, I just got into fighting because I loved it. Like I trained jiu-jitsu and train MMA because I love it. I love watching it on TV. I'll watch every card on TV. I'll watch every like LFA card. I'll watch CFFC cards, and I love it. So that's why I do it.
Awesome. So at what? So then you graduate high school. What do you do after high school?
I didn't go to college. I did like maybe like 2 classes in college, and I failed a math class, like an intro to algebra class. I failed that, and I was like, this is bullshit. Like I don't want to do this. Sorry for cursing. But I never really liked school anyway. When I was in school, I was never really like in school. Like I was always thinking about other things that are going on like outside of school and sports and stuff like that. But I stopped going to college. I did those 2 classes. I stopped. I dedicated myself fully to the fighting game, and it's been that ever since. I worked maybe like 2 jobs since then. I've worked at a Christmas tree lot on Grant Academy, or not Grant Academy, at Grant Boulevard, right next to Nifty 50s. I was selling trees there for a little bit. I think I worked like maybe like 2-3 weeks at Sesame Place for like.
Nice.
That was about it.
Just dealing with
like, this is pointless. Yeah.
Just dealing with shitty kids.
Yeah, I could not stand it at all.
Don't they make you wear like the cheesy outfits too? Like
I had to wear like a yellow shirt and like short shorts and stuff. It was just weird. Like I wasn't a fan of it. I wanted to be a lifeguard, but they wouldn't let me.
I went to film one thing, I went to film a commercial or something for them one time, and I had to like deal with a lot of people who were working. I felt so bad. I'm like, I would not want to wear those outfits and deal with the kids. Oh man, it sounds like a nightmare.
It's like the worst. It's a very good birth control, pretty much. Like,
dealing
with the kids all day. You're like, nah, I don't want these kids now.
Yeah, so I'm all good. That's hilarious. But during high school, did you have any other thing that you saw yourself doing in the future, whether it was a sport or like a career? Like, what did you want to become, or was it a fighter from that moment?
Yeah, honestly, you can. Your family's
in law enforcement, right? Your dad and your brother. So,
yeah, my dad's a police officer. My brother's a police officer as well.
That didn't ever cross your mind?
When I was a kid, it did, but as I got older, I didn't want to deal with it. Like it's too much stress. Like the stress that my brother has to deal with day in and day out it's crazy. And it's crazy that he's doing that and then also competing at a high level, at the highest level that there is. So it's nuts. It just shows like his talents and stuff like that. But I thought about being a fighter, not a fighter. I thought about being a police officer, and I just didn't want to do it. Like there was like a turning point, and I was just like, I'm good at fighting. I'm good at jiu-jitsu, so I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to see where this goes. I see myself as a world champion in the UFC eventually. And when I was younger, I saw that's all I envisioned. My brother and I were training in this basement right here that I'm in right now. When we were in high school, when I was in high school and he was in college, we were training before we even joined the gym. So I've always had fighting on the mind, and it's stuck with me ever since. So.
Well, that's good. So you don't have any like, it's not like you have any regrets where you're like, when you get punched in the face, you're like, shit, like I should have stuck with that Sesame Place job.
No, yeah, definitely not. Nah, I'm glad. I forget who said it, but he said I'd always rather punch your face than punch a clock, and that's I've lived by that. So it's true.
Dude, that's a good fucking shirt. That's a nice shirt.
Yeah, right. Right.
Talk to what's her name? The guys who do the what is it called? Yes, talk to them.
Yeah,
that's funny. That's funny. Okay, so then you become. What's your first pro fight? How does that moment come about? How do you feel about that? Like that first moment where now this is my actual job.
It went well, as opposed to how my amateur career went. But it was just another. It's like, to me, it's just another fight. You know, it's. I don't ever build it up to be something that it's not. It was good. You know, I expected the win. It was a very quick win. I got the guy in a submission in maybe like a minute and a half. But as soon as I won that first fight, I was like, all right, here we go. It begins. So it was great.
Do you watch fights currently and still get that same excitement that you did before you started fighting professionally?
Yeah, I actually get more excited now. I before I would get nervous and like antsy before I'd fight. But now it's excitement. You know, it's my job. So like, how can I not be excited to go out there and perform in front of millions of fans and millions of people? Like, even though there's no people in the venue and stuff like that, people are still watching. There's tons and tons and tons of people watching. So I love to do. I love to get in that cage and fight, and it's just great.
But how about watching fights as a fan? Like, do you see it so differently now that you can't enjoy it, or do you still enjoy it and like get pumped to see somebody winning? Like when you're just watching it.
I would say no. I would say I don't get as excited now, because I see a lot of the guys that are fighting and stuff like that, and it's just like I feel like I can beat these guys, beat that guy. Like, this is a good fight, but
I think a lot of people who watch fights. I think a lot of people who watch fights feel that way, even though they don't fight.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it's. I mean, for the fights that aren't in my division, I get kind of excited for. But I don't get like amped up like these people do. Like, people get so amped up when they're watching fights. It's crazy. I'm just like, I experienced it, so I know like firsthand what it feels like, and it's like whatever.
I only asked because like when I did film school. That's how I got into this whole stuff. And I remember the first thing that they tell you is like, you're no longer going to enjoy movies the way you did up to today. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now you're going to start watching them and like analyzing the camera movements, analyzing the lighting, analyzing everything, noticing when things aren't done right, which is completely. I still enjoy them, but it's completely true. Like, you can't help but just see everything that's not just the entertainment.
Yeah, and you see the guys that are performing, and you're like, their jiu-jitsu is like he missed this little piece in this to finish a submission, or he missed this position, or he missed this, missed that. But yeah, same but different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Very different. All right, so last performance for you in the UFC was fantastic. Where are we at now? Do you have a fight scheduled for April? Is that it?
Yeah, April 10th. I'm fighting Aliaskhab Kizrayev or something. He's 13-0. He's very.
The Black Wolf? Is that what they call him?
Yeah, I think so. That's his nickname on Tabology, but I don't think that's like what it actually goes by or whatnot.
That's what I saw. I'm like, oh, this is an iffy name, man. You're already beat.
Yeah, he's 13-0. You know, I don't know. I mean, he's good, but I don't know. I think it's just different. Like, I'm a different fighter than these guys face. Like, it just shows. Like, the last guy I fought was 13-1. You know, 13-1. I ran through him. So it just shows. Like, I also don't think that the guys that I fought, well, the guys that he fought, have matched up to the guys that I fought. You know, the first maybe 8 or 9 fights that I've seen, the guys are like maybe 1-2, 2-4, or whatnot. You know, they're kind of easier fights, like padding the record up a little bit. But his last 3 fights, he's fought guys with winning records, which is good. He has a good win over Palhares, who was a good jiu-jitsu guy, but not in his prime, fighting at 170, you know. I don't know. And all of his fights are also at 170. So I think, you know, coming up in weight class, you know, his last fight was on the Contender Series. It wasn't at 85. But I really honestly think that I'm just a different fighter. I'm a different 85er than most of these guys that are on the roster.
Do you personally? I mean, I'm sure you know who your main trainers Will,
My brother, my coach is Will Martinez. Yes,
and then your brother is your main. Okay,
it's like my main training partner. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. So do you though ever watch any, like, do you ever hop on YouTube late at night when you can't sleep and look up like past fights from these guys just to kind of see who you're facing, or do you leave it up, or you leave it up to them?
No, I do watch a lot of film on my opponents. I like to see their tendencies and see what they do, but and I'll also send it to my brother. I'll send it to my coach and be like, just give me like your 2 cents on what's going on, what you see that I admit, like what they see as opposed to what I see. But also I don't get too focused on like adapting my game to his style. Like I'm going to make him focus on my style when we step foot in the cage. Like I'm going to dictate the pace. I'm going to be in his face from the very beginning. And I'm just going to go after him like I always do every single fight. So
yeah, Chris said basically the same thing when I asked him like if he was training any different for Olenek. He was like, no, why? Why would I do that? Like we're comfortable with what we're doing. We know at the level that we're at with what we practice every day. So why would I go ahead and change that for him? So yeah, exactly. I think that's it's a good mindset. Instead of constantly trying to, I guess that's more insecure mindset, right? If you're constantly changing things up for the person you're facing.
You have guys now that lose one fight, switch gyms, and continuously lose, and they think that it's their gym that they were at back home. Like we have maybe a set group of like, I don't know, like 6 fighters at my gym, and everybody else is a jiu-jitsu guy or a striker and stuff like that. And we're doing perfectly fine with just us, like we don't need to leave and go to a big gym, or I've done that. I've gone to TriStar. I've trained at TriStar, it's great up there. But I'm like a homebody. I like being home, and I like training with everybody here, and I trust everybody here to get me ready for the fights. So
isn't it kind of nice too? Like it's probably even a better feeling. Like you're, kind of like what I'm trying to hopefully do with the show here. Like something small, local that can become something bigger is better than going to a bigger setting and trying to grow it there. Not a sellout situation, but the same kind of thing. It's like make your gym proud, stay at home in your environment that you feel comfortable, and still get to the highest level in the sport. Yeah,
like we're a small gym in Philly. Nobody really knows about us, which is great. We are getting more and more guys coming into the gym though, because they watch my brother fight, watch me fight, they see our success and stuff like that. But if I were to go to another big gym or something like that, then I would just be like another name at the gym. Like I wouldn't be like, oh, like there's Kyle. Like I would just be like, oh, there's another 85er that just joined the gym that's in the UFC that's trying to be another guy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. I think getting that attention, that working with people that you trust is much better than being in a bigger gym where you're kind of just another guy until you get to the superstar level. So that's April. So then you're technically in camp.
Yeah, right now. I started camp. I started camp the week before my brother fought.
Okay, 8 weeks. But then
I usually do like 8 to 10. I use it the first, like if I do a 10-week camp, I'm using the first 2 weeks to kind of like tune my body up, get my body ready for camp, and then as soon as I hit 8 weeks, we're good. We're good. So right now we're 6 weeks away, I think. So
you feeling good, ready to go?
I feel perfect. I feel great. This kid's gonna be surprised with how I go in there and how I perform. This guy, I'm gonna put this fight on this guy that, like, he's never been in the fight before. So
I'm excited. If you can call it, what would be your way of finishing the fight?
I mean, I would like to TKO him, but I don't know. It depends on whatever he chooses. He doesn't like going back, and I'm gonna pressure him and make him break. So it's his choice. If he wants to cave and guard up and let me strike on him, then I'll be a TKO. But if not, he wants to leave his head out there, I'll grip his head up and choke him. So.
Love it. That's a great way to wrap that up. To wrap up the conversation, anybody currently in your weight class that's higher in the rankings that you just see yourself, you know what I mean, like being able to take on and getting to that place right away? Or like who would you call out that's in the top 5?
Anybody in the top 5, honestly. I would like to fight Vittori. He had a couple fights that went away, that like fell through, that I tried to get on. but it didn't work out. But that was back when I was fighting for CFFC and stuff like that, so I wasn't really known. Yeah, man, anybody in the top 5, I know in my ability, and I know that if I do an 8-week camp, I can compete with anybody in this division. And there's the TV puts a lot of size and makes these guys look a lot bigger than they are. But when you're there face to face, they're just another guy. It's just another face you have to run through. So, yeah.
Love it. Can't wait. All
Thanks,
right, brother.
man.
Well, thank you for being on the show, man.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me.